All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Market Trading. I am your host, Tone Vays. All right. Coming to you live on a brand new shit. Oh, some problems don't change. Coming to you live on a brand new laptop. Well, it's the same laptop after a full factory reset, which actually was not as painful as I thought it would be. I think it's running much better too. Probably should have done this years ago. Well, not years ago. I haven't had it for years. But there's definitely going to be a lot of windows that I don't have open because I completely reset everything. This did take the rest of my day yesterday. So that was interesting. But hopefully no more hacks. I'm gonna have a little better security going forward. And let's go to the charts. Let me know if there are, like, if my audio is not great, if my video is not great. I had to redo all that stuff, of course, as well. So that was important. All right, let's go to charts. I think the audio should be good. All right, it was actually not easy finding the right charts. Let me move this out the way. All good so far. Thanks, motorist. And I will be keeping an eye on the Q&A chat in Telegram. Okay, so weekly chart. We're still having a pretty rough week. It's a bearish candle. We had this is now 3 bearish candles out of 4 weeks. Today is only Wednesday, so we do have time. I do think that this lucid SAR is in jeopardy starting next week. We can certainly break the lucid SAR, which I think it should rise next week. I gotta refresh my memory on the formula for the SARs. Should rise next week. And the moving averages are going to cross over. That's bullish. I do think the low area is only at 26, like 25, 26. I think that's the perfect buy the dip. I know a lot of people might have given up waiting on 25, but people are waiting on 25. They might not get 25. They might get like 25.8, 25.6. But getting below 25.5 is going to be tricky for those waiting on 25.5 to get into the market. We dropped down to an 80% allocation. That 80% allocation warranted the moment the price of Bitcoin fell below $28,500 on the last candle, not current candle, but prior candle. Once that prior candle started trading below both moving averages, with both moving averages declining, and in the second half of the candle, so with less than 2 days to go, that warranted a small removal of our very bullish 100% bullish position. And the moment the situation reverses, the moment price starts trading above both moving averages, with the moving averages rising and one above the other, we will put that back to a 100% position. And somewhere in between, we can go up to 90%, but it really doesn't make sense. I'm going to delete this arrow because it's just not necessary and it's in the way. It just, I don't want to be back in a situation where I'm putting these tags every candle. I mean, that's just not how position trading is done. This area here was very, very tricky, so it clearly warranted this kind of move. But normally, I would like to avoid that. The reason it's possible for us to go 100% bullish is because the long-term moving average is rising and the price is above it. If that was not the situation, we can never go 100% bullish. Tonebase homepage. I have not updated the calendar at all. I was in Panama, though I'm not in Panama right now, but I am in Japan right now. My Japan trip was supposed to be last month, right here, Japan for Web3. I don't know why the US flag's there, but this event got moved to next week. Unfortunately, I have to miss Miami, so my calendar has not really been updated. And the rest of May, I'll be in Japan, so I have to update that calendar. Do I have anything for next month? No, I haven't filled it out yet. All right, I need to fill out the calendar. And those that want to support, check out the on-demand videos. These are the Bitcoin education videos that go a little bit beyond the free learn trading section. Right there. And of course, the MRI indicator itself, which has been doing a pretty damn good job in helping us navigate these markets. All right, back to the charts. Well, actually, no, conferences. We got a shill. The financial summit is going to be November 5 to 10. You see the background behind me. An incredible event for traders, money managers, VCs. Just an awesome, awesome event. We've done it in Bali. We've done it in the Dominican Republic. And now we're back in Dubai. And also, Unconfiscatable. Unconfiscatable will be in Las Vegas, Nevada on December 7 and 8 with a poker tournament that always sells out the night before Thursday night on December 6th, right there. 0.03 Bitcoin to enter the tournament. That's about $800-900 right now. The price is denominated in Bitcoin, and every single Satoshi will be handed out in prize money to the final table participants of the tournament. I see your question present. Yeah, I can explain that. All right. So daily chart. I don't like this daily chart. It definitely has signs of bearishness. And the reason is because we had a full candle completely below the moving average. That is when you know the moving average has failed. Right here, back in early May, we closed below the 50-period moving average, but the next candle we went above it. No big deal. Right here in April 24th, we just, traded below that moving average for like an hour out of the day. Really not a big deal. Very bullish situation. Right here, back on the 4th of March of 2023, we had a very nasty red star candle, a big red star candle, a candle that was, bigger than any single day prior to it for weeks. Red star candle, and it started our path towards an MRI buy, a beautiful MRI buy at 20,000. But once we had that candle fully below the moving average, where every single part of that candle, including its shadows, are below the moving average, it tends to signal trouble in the near future. This is a very, very familiar situation. It actually looks almost identical to this red star candle. Same thing here. Now, this red star candle was bigger, the one back in March 3rd. This day was bigger. On this day, we fell over $1,000 for 4.5%. 2 days ago, we fell $785, which is almost the same amount, from a dollar perspective. But percentage-wise, it was a lot less. It was only 2.75%. But this candle started right at the moving average a few days ago, while the one back on March 23rd started like 2% above the moving average. So that's why this one probably fell a lot further, But if you look at the amount of the candle that is below the moving average in both sides, it's pretty damn identical. So to me, this is an exact same scenario. And in that last scenario, we came down for another week or so right into the MRI buy, right at moving average support. And I can certainly see the same thing happening again. I was actually a little bit surprised that we never pulled back into the moving average before having the big drop back in March. I'm going to delete these because they're just in the way. And this time around, we can do that. We can pull right into the moving average, which we're doing right now. And now that moving average will serve as some short-term support. And then we're going to, go down the way that arrow represents. So this bullishness today means actually absolutely nothing to me. And the only way it would matter to me from the bullish perspective is when we get back above the moving average and have an entire candle above the moving average, or something like what was happening here, where the bounce off the low was so strong, I didn't need to wait for this March 14th candle. I became super bullish before that as we were breaking 23,000, breaking that moving average, just based on what was happening. And I remember Neil Jacobs quoted me in Spaces on this day, March 12th or March 13th, when Bitcoin was just like 22,000 something. And I said, we're probably never going below 20,000 again in the history of Bitcoin unless it dies. And then I was on Mario Spaces with like 5 or 10,000 people, and Bitcoin was right here breaking 23,000. And I said, I'm super bullish. I'm going in. I don't expect this to ever go back below 20. And everyone just lost their shit. And it's like, no, you can't say that. It's just a 3-day move. You can't be this bullish. It's impossible to know. And I basically said, you know what? Screw you guys. If that's your attitude, at which point do you ever take the trade? Right? Because everyone wants to be politically correct. Like these people are apparently amazing traders, but yet they can never have conviction. And it's like, yeah, I know the market has gone up for 10 years, but we still don't know. We still don't know if the S&P is going to rise. I know it's been rising since 2009, and it's only been 15 years, but we just don't know. It's just too early to tell if the market is bullish. We can't tell. It's too early. You have to wait some more. It's too early, right? I mean, it's the same people, right? Like you have to have conviction. And I was incredibly bullish in Bitcoin right here at the low. I personally was not crazy bullish on the market here at the low because I don't normally like to chase falling knives when you don't have conviction on doing so. But right now, I've been super bullish. I actually was more bullish off the October low of last year than I was right at the panic low here. In Bitcoin, it was different. The way Bitcoin bounced off that low was very, very different and a lot more obvious. In the S&P, it was a little bit tricky, but I certainly became a bull a couple of weeks, like a week or two later. But there are people that to this day still don't know if the S&P is in a bull market following the 2009 crash, and they think that this 15 years have been irrational, completely irrational. Okay, so I remain bullish in the S&P. Let's see how we're doing today. This is the weekly chart. We're sitting right at support, which, again, a scary situation, but the moving averages are in much healthier shape than they were at any point since October. So that makes me bullish. What about the daily chart? The daily chart this morning is struggling a little bit. We started to rise. Let's see if there was a 10 a.m. reversal. It is now 11:10. Here's our 5-minute chart. There was not a 10 a.m. reversal. The market rallied hard at 8:30 in the morning. I don't know what the economic news was. We're going to find out. Finviz is my simple way of checking out what the news was. Nope, not where I wanted to go. Where I wanted to go here. So this morning at 8:30, the CPI came out. Oh wow, I was so busy yesterday with redoing my laptop, I totally forgot that today was the CPI numbers. So the CPI numbers came in a little bit hotter than expected. There was a 0.3% monthly rise in CPI, which when annualized would be about 4% annualized. The prior was 0.4%, and we came in at 0.4%. That's the core CPI. The general CPI came in line with the prior one being very, very low. So this spooked the market a smidge. And the reason why it spooked the market a smidge, I'm sorry, it rallied the market, but it will it rallied the market at the time, which honestly doesn't really make sense to me. It should have spooked the market a little bit. Inflation is coming in a little bit hotter. For some reason, the market rallied, but clearly, as it's pulling back right now, that made no sense. So the market fell all the way back to where it was just prior to the rally. That made sense to me. The inflation numbers came in a little bit hot, and that means Fed might be raising interest rates again. And I guess it took a little bit of time for people to realize. This is why I don't trade market open. This is why I don't trade pre-market. Market open took place right here, and it crashed at market open after rallying for some crazy reason on rough inflation numbers, which makes no sense. EIA crude oil inventories came out. Oh, crap. And I don't have that. Let me see if I can find it. I think I saved that link. Let me see. Let's go to that. Let's look at oil prices. Oil prices are down this morning. Interesting. Let's see the numbers. Let's see how much oil was siphoned off. Well, they're not published. They're not published. Did they stop updating this page? Like next release is the 10th. Isn't that today? Isn't today the 10th? That's today. So I don't know what they're doing. Let's see what the numbers were. EIA crude oil inventories. It says plus 2.95 million. Did they buy oil? Did the US government buy oil? For the 6th? For May 6th? Wow. I didn't think that was possible. Prior was 128 M. Let me see. Well, that doesn't look like 128. This looks like a drop of 2 million barrels. Exactly 2 million and change. So I don't know. I don't know. Numbers aren't adding up. I don't know. Can't tell you guys. Let's see. I want to see this page updated. I want to see this page updated. Right? Like, for example, if this drop here, if this was 1.28 million, then it would be obvious, right? But this drop is not 1.28 million. This drop is 2 million. So I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe there was a drop of 128 million, 1.28 million that they're not showing us right here. And now the next one is the plus 2.95 million. So again, like it sucks that this data is not here. And I don't have this. I mean, I can try to Google it, but you know the rules. Don't Google on live air. Don't Google on live air. That should be a law. Oh, by the way, prior to me starting this video, I was watching this. It's a freaking disaster. It's a train wreck. I was watching the future of digital assets, measuring like it's Senate hearings on how to regulate crypto. They don't have a single Bitcoiner on the panel. There's like 6 guys on the panel. I've heard of one of them, and that's Marco Santori, who created the first like SAF, the Agreement for Future Tokens, which opened up the world of shitcoins. Every single person here, if they are a crypto person, they are a total shitcoiner. And I've never heard of any of them. And they're all lawyers, except for one guy. One guy, this guy. This is the only guy I think that's not a lawyer. And I've never even heard of this company. And he's like, I've been in crypto for 10 years. I've never heard of you. Like, not that I have to hear of you, but I never even heard of the company. Head of Republic Crypto. The company is called Republic. I don't know. Sounds like the People's Republic. Like, I don't know. Like, wow. This is completely insane. Web3 Foundation. These are the experts that the government found to tell them how to regulate this industry. It is a total clown show. Total clown show. Like, who's heard of any of these people besides Marco Santori? Like, how many people we have watching this right now? We got 277 people. Like, can someone just name a person in the live chat right now that you've heard of besides Marco Santori? I know the chat's a little behind. Anyway, this is nuts. This is nuts. I'm like afraid to listen to the rest of it. And look who's on this committee. Look who's the expert at the latest in financial technology, the tech innovator herself, Maxine Waters. There she is. All 88 years old of her is the expert on the latest in technological financial innovation. The one that swears that Sam Bankman-Fried is the greatest human being in the history of the planet, who was supposed to, save us with his digital and innovation expertise. She is on this committee. Obviously, from the People's Republic of California. This is insane. This is completely insane. Maxine Waters is actually 88. I'm gonna check. I don't want to be fact checked on this. She was born in 1938. 1938. Like World War II just started. Where's her age? Shouldn't they just like give me a number? I don't want to do math on live air either. 1938 to today. Jesus. How old is she? I think it's easier to do math on live air. She's 84. Shit, my bad. I was off. She's 84. She's 84. She's gonna turn 85 in August. August. She's 85 in August. That she's on this. She's on the committee to regulate digital currency. That I her. She's like I think the second most important person. Like it's her expertise that we have to rely on. Anyway, I like I said, I only saw it like up to here, up to like the first 3 or 4 questions, and it was already bad. It was already terrible. Like neither the Congress people nor the experts, as they call them, knew anything they were talking about. Like anything. It's insane. All right, let's get back to the charts. Gold. Gold is flirting with a new all-time high, and I will remain bullish on gold in that scenario. Market's starting to rally a little bit. So what happens with a hot CPI print? Let's look at, we can look at the CPI report. We can see what it says. Inflation rate eases to 4.9%. I don't know how that's an easing. I would love for NBC to explain that. So here's what I don't understand. Like this is why the market goes up and then down, right? Like let me show you. Let me show you. We're gonna go to my good old friend Peter Schiff. I just happened to see the tweet. Well, like I just Googled it. So we're not gonna pick on Peter Schiff today. We're not. No one should be excited about April CPI rising just 4.9% year over year versus expectation of a 5% gain. See, this is the thing, right? So the announcement in the news is, because I also saw it on the headline. Here's the headline, CNBC. Inflation rate eases to 4.9% in April, less than expectations. Now, I don't understand that, right? How does it ease more than expectation, right? But because the expectations are different. It depends on where you look. When we look at FinWiz, and I'm not saying FinWiz is, the master of, I mean, it's probably Bloomberg, right? But we're just simple people. We're just simple plebs. What was our, had I paid attention to this when I woke up? Well, the expectation was clearly lower than it came in. So to me, the core CPI was expected to be closer to 4%, but it came in hot at 4.5%. Now we can look at overall CPI. Maybe that's what they're talking about, right? the expectation was 0.4, and we got 0.4. Now, unless they're playing with additional numbers after the decimal, maybe the expected was 0.43. No, sorry. Maybe the expected was 0.44, and we got 0.43, and hence the annualized version is, wow, it came in less than expected at 4.9 versus 5. Now, do you really think, like how stupid are we, right? Like, if you're expecting, say, 5%, but you get 4.9, is it really an improvement? Really? I mean, this is one of those bullshit headlines that fools the bots. And remember what I've said earlier. It's the bots. The moment the information comes out, the bots reads the headline. And the bot is not going to realize that the news media is lying. They're just going to read the news media. I'm sorry, AI is not that advanced. I mean, it's not that smart. I mean, AI is only as good as the developer that programmed it. So the AI bots read in headlines like this from CNBC that the rate eases, and and the inflation is less than expected, when in reality it is in line with expectation at best, and a lot worse than expected at 0.4 versus 0.3 in reality. Now, if Bloomberg numbers were different and everyone trusts Bloomberg, that's fine. But this is the confusion that I have. And this is why I said, well, the market should have dropped, but the market didn't drop, right? And this is why we don't trade pre-open. And this is why we don't trade opening hours. And we let, humans read these headlines and actually move the market for real, which is what happened after the bots initially took, smart traders out of play with the play on words that the media did. Now, I see nothing bullish in this headline, and this is why we are not going to pick on Peter Schiff today. We're not going to pick on Peter Schiff because Peter Schiff is right in this tweet of his. He's absolutely right. Well, wait, where's the tweet? Peter, you tweet too much. This thing came out like an hour ago. You already have like 18 tweets. No one should be excited about the April CPI rising just 4.9% year after year versus expectation of 5% gain. But where was this 5% gain expectation? Like, again, I'm not saying FinWiz is the next Bloomberg, but as we started this video, we didn't see the current number come in below expectation. We saw it come in above expectation in the core CPI and in line in CPI. And core CPI is probably more important. 4.9% is still above the Fed's 2% target rate. Yes, thank you, Sherlock. That is correct. Everyone knows that. Yes, it is. This likely represents trough inflation. Okay, you got me there. I don't know what that means. Also, April's 0.4% rise in consumer prices is much hotter than 0.1% rise the prior month. You are correct, Peter Schiff. Absolutely right. Last month it was 0.1, but there is some seasonality involved. So that happens. There is seasonality. If you take a time series analysis course in graduate school, you'll learn a lot about seasonality. So, yeah, so I don't get it. I don't get why the headlines had to sound positive and upbeat, when in reality, let's look at this. Let's break it down. I can go look at the report, but used cars are down in price. That's great. Or gasoline is down in price. That's great. And fuel oil is down in price, right? Oil prices have been falling, and so is natural gas. So what did go up in price? Well, transportation, that sucks. We use that every day. Food away from home, that went up. Good luck eating out. Electricity went up. That's not good. Shelter went up. Food at home went up. New cars, that's not good. I actually want to buy a car. I'm not sure where I'm going to keep it. But overall CPI 4.9, right? So Medicare didn't go up all that much. And yes, they're lucky. They're lucky that oil prices are dropping. But again, the strategic petroleum reserve depletion significantly helped these CPI numbers. But this is really bad. This is really, really bad. Like your food is going up 7% annualized, and you driving around is going up 11% annualized, which is weird because gas went down. So gasoline drops 12% in price, and yet you taking an Uber has gone up 11%. Isn't that a little weird? Like transportation of all kinds, right? I'm assuming airlines and other like your bus fare. This is bad. Like, how is your transportation rising while your gasoline's dropping? That's a bad sign. Eventually, gasoline's going to go up. You think transportation costs are going to go down? That's unlikely. All right. Well, yeah, I do think S&P is going to go higher, right? Like, look at transportation. Let's randomly assume the price of Ubers went up 11%. Do you think Uber is going to pay that to the driver? Hell no. They're going to keep that money. So Uber is going to make more money, and the price of Uber is going to rise. Let's go take a look at the price of Uber chart. Guys, high inflation does not mean that it's bad for the stock market. Not necessarily. And look at that. Uber is rising. Look at the price of Uber stock. It's skyrocketing. Uber looks great. I know it's on an MRI sell right now on a daily scale. I would probably get out of Uber today. Doji candle, MRI top. I like the consolidation. That keeps me bullish. Weekly chart, probably bullish. Green star candle. I'd be careful with Uber today. Had incredible earnings. Uber is doing great. Absolutely great. Lyft is not doing good. Uber might be buying Lyft if Lyft keeps going down. So I would never short Lyft at this price. But they're definitely decoupling from each other. That's for damn sure. Because one company is running a profitable business and one clearly is not. If Lyft was running a profitable business, this would not be happening to its stock price. Now, if we look at Uber, they're in line with their IPO. But that's better than being down 90% from IPO. Okay, there was a question about the Russian currency. Let me check Gala first. What's Gala? Is that a shitcoin? I was hoping it was a stock, but it's a shitcoin. I mean, why would you want me to look at this? It's going to zero. It's never going to go past this all-time high. It is actually impossible. And is this versus the dollar? Oh, it's versus Tether. We got to look at it versus Bitcoin. Like versus Tether, it's never going up there. But that's a flawed chart. I mean, why? I mean, it's never going to go here. It's never going to surpass Bitcoin. It may surpass the dollar price. The dollar could go into hyperinflation. It's possible. I mean, it's going to go to zero. I mean, it only has 112 Satoshis to go to get to zero. I mean, this is a classic pump and dump scam. Classic pump and dump scam. Like, by the way, these idiots here, no, not these, sorry, these on the other side. Like, they actually said Polkadot is decentralized. Like, are you insane? Like, I couldn't get over it. Like I said, I only heard the first 10 minutes, And there was actually a discussion how Polkadot is creating decentralization. Like in what parallel universe do these people live in? Like it's nuts. It's nuts. Like this is why the laws in this country are messed up, because it's like the experts that the government brings in to talk to them are like should probably be in a mental institution instead. Like they actually think Polkadot is decentralized. On both sides. On both sides of this desk, they think that Polkadot is decentralized. Just remember that. Oh yeah, beautiful right here, support. But would I have gone in over here? And the answer is probably not. I probably would not have been in. It's a nice pullback from 33. But the MRI didn't line up. I mean, I wouldn't be in right now. Like the moving out, it's under a moving average. It went a little too low for my taste. I would wait. I would wait a couple of more days. Like I would. Oh, that's a weekly chart. Sorry. Let me move the daily chart. All right. From a daily chart perspective, I might be in. There's different scales. On a daily chart, this green star candle, maybe I'll go in slightly, right? But now you're below both moving averages. From the daily perspective, the MRI is beneficial, right? Like let's say if I wanted to put X on this trade, I would be in like X divided by 3 or X divided by 4. I would be in more at most half of my intended bullish position. And I would be setting my stop loss right below here. I don't like this consolidation at the low. The only thing that's getting me into this trade is the green star candle. And it's great that we are above the short term, the intermediate term moving average. No, sorry, the short term moving average. The colors are off. I don't usually do it in this color sequence. And on a daily scale, I'd be in, but on a weekly scale, I'm not ready yet. So small, tiny position. CLSK. That's interesting. I have these arrows here. Wonder why. I guess I was looking for a pullback down to the moving average cross because it's gone up a little too far on a weekly. It's coming up on an MRI sell on a weekly scale. I'm going to still stick to this. I'm just going to slide them over a bit. Give it another week or two. It'll probably top. I would like to see a new high made. There is a daily MRI top coming next week, and that would be almost in line with a weekly MRI top coming. So maybe from here, a bit of a pullback. Maybe it wouldn't go that far because there's daily support. I would not be jumping in on this right now. I'd wait for a pullback. Same as last time. Virgin Galactic. Yeah, space is the ticker. Sure, no, I knew that. Looks good, looks bullish, had bad earnings, but no one cares because everyone wants to go to space. So chart looks bullish. I'd probably wait. I wouldn't jump in yet. Maybe a little bit, but the chart's still overall bearish on a daily and on weekly. Beautiful MRI buy here. But you're stuck under resistance. So I would be very, very cautious with this ticker. All right, last two more. Didn't I look at this CLSK? I did. That's the clean spark. Yeah, we looked at that. RNDR. Another shitcoin. Come on, guys. Like especially shitcoins I never heard of. It's going to zero. Like I don't need to look at the chart. They're all shitcoins. They're all shitcoins. It's not gonna break. I mean, it actually can break. It's high because its high is so new. So the hype hasn't come in yet. Stop with these shit coins, please. Please, you're only gonna lose money in the long run. Bank of America. We discussed Bank of America, and it's not good. Like, I wouldn't buy Bank of America. I'd buy Chase. I'd buy Chase Bank, but I wouldn't buy Bank of America. I'd buy JP Morgan. JPM looks good. It looks bullish. Bank of America, ugh, looks ugly. Tesla. I wouldn't go into Tesla right now either. Look, I don't know why I'm so bullish on the market, because individual stocks look like crap, and Tesla is one of those stocks. SMR. Terrible. Terrible looking chart. Disaster. All right, let's go to the currency section. FX. I'm a few days behind on my Russia-Ukraine conflict situation. I know yesterday was Victory Day for Russia and anyone else that fought in the World War II, but only Russia seems to take it seriously. Oh, I mean, I like the samurai buy on the dollar. Should I move these arrows over? I don't want to cheat. I'm bullish on the US dollar, guys. Bullish on the dollar. Okay, so a while ago, I had said that a strong ruble is not great for Russia. Let's see how the ruble's doing. Ruble's dropping. Oh, sorry, ruble's strengthening. It's dropping on this chart. It's less rubles to buy dollars. So the ruble is strengthening, which means there is global confidence in Russia, and they're based on what's happening in the military conflict. Now look at the Ukrainian currency. The Ukrainian currency is not moving at all. So how can the Russian ruble be strengthening while the Ukrainian ruble not moving? Because it is pegged. And who is spending the money? Who is throwing money down the toilet in order to maintain a peg of the Ukrainian hryvnia currency? Because if it wasn't for spending this money, maintaining the peg, the Ukrainian currency would already collapse, completely collapse, like Zimbabwe-style collapse of the Ukrainian currency should have already occurred. But it's being maintained. It's being maintained by the West, mostly by America. So America is spending money maintaining this peg. They're not announcing it. Maybe the IMF is doing it, and the US owns the IMF. Someone is holding this peg. In a free market, the Ukrainian currency would go the way of Zimbabwe or Venezuela, basically. But that's not happening. That's not happening because someone is spending the money. When that someone stops spending the money, the Ukrainian currency completely implodes, and the war ends. Because how is Ukraine going to pay their soldiers? How are they going to pay their government employees? How is Zelensky gonna become a multi-billionaire? Like, how is that gonna happen if the peg's broken? So as long as this peg remains, Ukraine will obviously continue to fight because they'll have the money to fight because someone is paying their salaries. Now, in the case of Russia specifically, the strengthening of the ruble is good for the people inside Russia because they become wealthier and they can travel to places like Thailand and Turkey and the Middle East, and their life and they don't go broke because their rubles go a little bit further. Thoughts on Gonzalo Lira being arrested in Ukraine? I gave those thoughts yesterday. I think that it's a total disgrace, and anyone who thinks Ukraine is a democracy is insane. Ukraine is not a democracy. Ukraine is a dictatorship masquerading as a democracy. Now, I will say Gonzalo Lira is also may not be the brightest guy in the world, because if I was him, I would have gotten the hell out of Ukraine before he got arrested the first time. And he sticks to his principles. And he decided to stay there after he got arrested the first time and continued to poke the Ukrainian government and got arrested the second time. Now, do I think Gonzalo Lira said anything that wasn't truthful? No. Gonzalo Lira actually stated facts that got him arrested, absolute facts. So that was criminal by the Ukrainian regime to arrest him. But at the same time, Gonzalo Lira knows where he's living, and stating facts in a dictatorship will get you, arrested and tortured. And he knew where he was. So he stuck to his principles, and it's unfortunate. I wish that the U.S. government would actually do something about it, because he is a U.S. citizen. But this also shows you that a Ukrainian passport is crap. Like, anyone that thinks, like, for example, my family thinks that the U.S. passport is the greatest thing ever. Because if something ever happens to you in a foreign country, you just flash that U.S. passport, and with a magic wand, the U.S. will send an army to rescue you. And that is insane, right? Like, the U.S. doesn't give a shit about you as a U.S. citizen unless you're doing something that pisses you off. Like, for example, if Gonzalo Lira was in Russia and he said the truth and got arrested, this would be all over national news. But because he's in Ukraine and said the truth, the U.S. probably are the ones that called the Ukrainian government and told them to arrest Gonzalo Lira and do whatever they wanted with him. The U.S. probably gave the green light to get a U.S. citizen arrested in Ukraine. So, yeah, it's it's a tragedy that Gonzalo Lira is now being probably tortured by, the Ukrainian secret police. Like, I view Ukraine as a bigger dictatorship than Russia. Like, I think Russia is actually more like at the moment, like over the last year, well, definitely since the military conflict started, at the moment I view Russia as being more, I guess, democratic than Ukraine. I see Ukraine as a much bigger, like further on the totalitarianism scale than Russia. Well, I agree. He probably could not leave after the first arrest, but why couldn't he leave after the first arrest? He's not a Ukrainian citizen. They have no right to keep him in the country. He can just go to the U.S. embassy and stay in the U.S. embassy, right? And then he could have used the U.S. embassy to get him out of Ukraine. Probably could have gotten the Chilean embassy to get him out of Ukraine. They just wouldn't do it. And Gonzalo Lira should have left Ukraine the first time before he got arrested. As a U.S. citizen, hey, I need to get the hell out of Ukraine. He got his family out of Ukraine right away, but he stayed. Someone is saying, go to Russia. Maybe you get drafted and sent to Ukraine. How is that different than Ukraine? Have you not seen the videos of Ukrainian soldiers like just walking into colleges and just grabbing young men that weren't even drafted? They're just randomly grabbing people and throwing them in, right? At least Russia had a draft. at least Russia called in people that were recently in the military. Like, Ukrainian military just goes around and grabbing people off the street. How is that better? I already looked at Virgin Galactic, guys. Zelensky's wages are not paid in Ukrainian hryvnia. No, I agree with that, right? But if the Ukrainian currency went into hyperinflation, then Zelensky would no longer be president, and hence Zelensky wouldn't make any more money in US dollars. Guys, stop pretending that Ukraine is a democratic nation. Stop. No, no one that knows that country believes that. Was Zelensky elected democratically? Yes. But everything he said to get elected was obviously a lie. He ran on a platform that I will create peace with Russia and we will end the conflict and we will not have a war. That was literally his platform. And then he did everything opposite of that, and now they're in a war. So like, the amount of bullshit that Zelensky said to get elected is worse than what Biden said to get elected. Biden was saying how he's gonna make abortion a constitutional amendment, which is legally impossible. And Zelensky's promises were still worse. Yeah, so yeah, but now you're making excuses, right? Superior being, you're making excuses. Defending your country is not optional. But you're making excuses, right? I'm also Ukrainian, by the way. I'm just as much Russian as I am Ukrainian. So if I go to Ukraine, wouldn't I also be forced into the army? Like you said, go to Russia, you'd be forced into the army. Well, I actually wouldn't be forced into the army in Russia, but in Ukraine I might be, right? So again, you made a bad statement. You made an incorrect statement. If I go to Russia, I would not be inscripted into the army. But if I go to Ukraine, I might be, right? Because like I said, I'm just as much Ukrainian as I am Russian. I'm 50-50. I don't have either passport. I guess I'm a little more Russian than Ukrainian because when I was born, the area that I was born in was slightly on the border with Russia. But yeah, I'm a lot more. I'd be a lot more concerned about going to Ukraine than going to Russia, and not because that military conflict is happening there. I mean, I'd be a lot more worried about the Ukrainian authorities than I am about the Russian authorities. So if I happen to be, jumping out of a plane with a parachute and I can see the border between Ukraine and Russia, I would sway towards the border with Russia because I think I'd be safer there. And not because of the military conflict. I'm just talking about it's the Ukrainian government that would scare me more. I'm not saying the both. I'm not saying one's great. I'm just saying one worries me a lot more. Oh boy, the Turkish elections are coming up. That's going to be crazy. Whether Erdogan is gonna win again. So the ruble looks good. Well, I wouldn't go that far. I would not go that far. So I'm still bullish on the ruble. I still think that the ruble will eventually break this swing low unless Russia goes on a printing spree, because for the government, a strong ruble is not good. A strong ruble makes Russian manufacturing goods, and there's not that many, but there are enough. It makes their manufacturing goods expensive to other countries. Ukraine became the San Francisco of Eurasia. No. It's it guys, San Francisco is the homeless capital of the world. It is the homeless capital of the world. Like, I'd rather go back to India than San Francisco. Like, if someone asked me, like, Tone, would you rather speak at a conference in San Francisco or in India? I'd rather go to India than San Francisco. Like, anywhere in India. Well, let's not go that far. I'd go to Delhi, and I've been to Delhi, over San Francisco. Egypt, I don't know, a little close to call versus San Francisco. Do I think Turkey is a democracy? Yeah, I do. More than Ukraine, that's for damn sure. Yeah, let's see if Erdogan gets elected. He might not get reelected, actually. Well, they're not really democracies, right? They're more like republics. Remember, just because it's a democracy, it doesn't mean that it's better. Like there's this assumption that a democracy is better. Like, why is everyone moving to Dubai? Is Dubai a democracy? There's no elections in Dubai. There's no elections in the UAE. Why is everyone moving there? Why is every European moving there? I can tell you why Americans aren't moving there. They get zero tax advantages. So why would an American live somewhere that's expensive as hell and still pay America tax? But all the Europeans are moving there. That's not a democracy. Right? Just because it's a democracy doesn't mean that it's better. You have to separate the political system in your country versus, the willingness to live in that country. You also have to know the difference between a democracy and a republic, right? Just because people get democratically elected, they're like the founding fathers took the Roman model of government, the republic. And it's debatable whether that's a good model to run the country. Very debatable. I certainly don't see Turkey as a dictatorship. But I also don't see the UAE is a dictatorship, even though they don't have elections at all. Right? I guess it's a dictatorship. It's a pretty damn good dictatorship. I like going to Dubai. Democracies are the least evil of the types of government. No, but that's not true. That's not true. Right? Democracies could be very evil. Just because you have an illusion that you elected someone doesn't mean that you don't have, evil in your country. And just because you don't get to elect anyone and your country is ruled by a king, it doesn't mean that that king is going to be evil. I mean, most of the time, non-democratic countries have many evil leaders. And most of the time, democratically elected, honest elections tend to be better for the people. But this is changing. It is actually changing before our eyes. We are witnessing democratic countries going totalitarian as fuck. Look at Canada, look at Australia, look at New Zealand, and look at the US right now under Biden, right? And you're witnessing countries that don't have elections, like the UAE, going in the opposite direction. So in the next 20, 30 years, it's possible that the most freedom you'll have is in countries that have no elections, that have like a Caesar for life, who was a good leader, by the way. I am a fan of Caesar, who became a dictator, right? The Republic, the Roman Republic, got so corrupt that Caesar took it over as a dictatorship, and it was better. It was a lot better. Like Caesar got rid of the Republic because it was so corrupt and evil. And he basically saved Rome, and then got killed for it because he allowed some of those people around him instead of throwing them in prison, like Brutus and Cicero. Caesar went to Rome to save it, not to rule it as king. Got assassinated for it. The Civil War started between Augustus, his nephew, and Mark Antony, his like top general. I'm somewhat up to date on the history of Rome, guys. One of my hobbies. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get going. It's already noon Eastern. As an engineer, you know this, Tone. Know what? Yeah, Nero was a problem. Yeah, then Rome rebuilt itself, and Marcus Aurelius was the last great leader of Rome. Don't start a political channel, start a history channel. Guys, history was my worst subject in school. One of two classes I ever failed in high school. One of them was history. I actually got an F. I failed the history class once, and I've gotten several like C's. And the other class that I failed in high school was actually a music class. And then I was a DJ in college. So, and now I love history. So it's really weird how the stuff you really liked early on in school, and I even majored in geology. And now I don't pay attention to geology at all, other than talk shit about climate change. And meanwhile, history became very interesting. I may start a political channel for the election. Tone, what's your opinion of using Keltner channels? I'm not. I don't use those. I don't like regression lines. I don't like regression lines. Well, okay, wasn't there another question as part of? Oh, when the internet was saved from a bug. Um, yeah, I mean, you can look that up. I mean, that's a Googleable thing. Tone, you're wrong. My friend in Moscow has received requests to serve in Russian army, even though he never had any connection to the army. He barely got out because of his grandma in the army. But that makes no sense. Edwinas, your friend, that makes no sense, right? Every Russian male serves in the army, right? So that your statement makes no sense. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm not saying your friend's lying. I'm just saying your statement makes no sense. Russia has a mandated army, right? Like it's if you're 18, I don't know what I don't remember what age, I don't remember how many years, right? But Russia has a law that you're going into the army when you're a certain age, right? For training. Israel has the same law. Several countries have that law. I think Egypt even does. Like you have to go into the army. So if your friend is of age, and of age means an adult, how did he avoid the army in the first place if he's Russian? Now, if he's not Russian, why is he getting this request to the army? So it's like I'm questioning your statement because it just makes no sense unless it can be explained, unless there's something I'm missing. Your statement makes no sense. Yeah, Finland also has mandatory army. I don't know why. Finland has it. I think Sweden does as well. Well, Russian SARS were definitely better than the communists that killed them. So you just admitted that all Russian males can be drafted in the army. Yeah, yes. Yes, of course. I mean, this is why you go, they have mandatory army, yeah. But so is Ukraine. Every Russian male could also be like literally they see you walk into the store and they're like, hey, that guy looks fit and is young and is 16, don't matter, let's go grab him, throw him in a van. Like at least Russia sends you a letter in the mail and then you have the ability to get out of it, kind of like jury duty. If you have, connections or you're smart, you have a chance to get out of it. But yes, this is like Russia mandates a year or two in the military. Like I don't remember the law. Like we can Google it, right? Like what are Russian military requirements, right? All male citizens ages 18 to 27 are subject to conscription for 1 year of active duty military service in the armed forces. But what are their like regular as of 2021? They changed it as of 2021. What was it before 2021? Russian military requirements pre-2021. Mandatory last, okay, 12 months, right? Like this will be a little hard to Google. Like everything is focused on the change that was made, but I'm curious, what was it before? Right? So as far as I know, there was a mandatory 1 year or 2 years, I don't remember, Russian military when you turn 18. It was always this way back in the 90s, 2000s. I don't remember the exact rule. And so explain to me how your friend has never been to the army and yet got a summons, right? Like again, this is the Russia conscripted people between these ages, and they did this like 6 months ago, and they're still training, and they have not yet been deployed. And Russia doesn't really want to deploy these people. They would like to end this conflict before they have to do that, But if they have to deploy this 500,000 people that they selected 6 months ago, they will. Warriors saying maybe to protect themselves against Russia. Yes, I agree, right? But I'm just saying that when you say, "Oh, go to Russia and you'll get thrown in, to go and die in Ukraine," yeah, but your chances of that are higher in Ukraine. What was that, about 40 years? I saw something. Okay, so this is new. Well, like I don't remember, like I don't know what the old law was. I mean, if someone from Russia is watching me right now, like what was the military requirement pre 2021? Like what was it in 2020? Google isn't very good for this, clearly. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. The mandatory term of service was reduced from 2 years to 1 year in 2007 and 2008. Avoiding the draft is a right. So it was 1 year. There was a 1 year of military service. It used to be 2 years, and Russia lowered it to 1 year. So again, when you say your friend got the summons, and he had nothing to do with the military. Well, he had something to do with the military, right? He must have spent at least 1 year in the military before that, and he was probably of age. And yes, Russia selected like 500,000 people that were recently, and by recently, probably in the last 5 years, had military training. They want the most, military-ready people to deploy to Ukraine if they have to, and they have not deployed them yet. Tone, the answer, he avoided the army because he had health issues, which grandpa in the army helped him with. Okay, now it makes sense. Thank you for clarification. I knew it was weird, right? So he had health issues. That's why he didn't join the army in the first place. He got a letter inscripting him, and he used the same health issues that got him out of the army in the first place to get him out of the inscription draft. And that actually makes sense, right? Because look, if I was in charge of inscripting the best possible 18 to 27-year-olds for a military conflict, why would I want someone who had health issues preventing him from going to the army in the first place? Now, whether those health issues were real or manufactured doesn't matter, right? The person had health issues, could not go to the army. So he got that inscription. I mean, like, look, the government employees aren't perfect. They screwed up. So all you have to do is point out to the Russian government, hey, listen, now the reason this guy never had military training in the first place is because of these health issues. Why are you inscripting him? He is terrible for what you're trying to do. And me, as a guy running the Russian inscription draft, I'm going to say, you know what, sir? You are absolutely right. why would I want a health risk in my army when I have other people to choose from that recently went through 1 year of military training in the last 3 years, right? So in Russia, you can actually, have this discussion, and it obviously worked, and he got out of the inscription. Good luck doing that in Ukraine, right? In Ukraine, if you are going out for a burger and the military grabs you and throws you in the van, are they going to give a rat's ass that you are not medically fit to go fight the Russians on the border? And if you're not medically fit to fight the Russians on the border, you are endangering the actual fit soldier next to you. I mean, yes, I know it's another body for a higher death count that will probably get Ukraine more money, but that's not the best person to use. Now, as you just demonstrated, in Russia, you can have a rational discussion and avoid, going to the front lines. In Ukraine, you can't. And I understand that Ukraine is defending their country, and every body counts as long as you can walk, or maybe even in a wheelchair, you can hold a rifle and they can send you to the front lines to defend, the Ukrainian land. Though I'm still trying to figure out why Ukraine is defending the land that has Russians living on it and have had Russians living on it forever. So that's a whole different discussion. I know a 24 Ukrainian man who wasn't taken in the army. You know what? This reminds me of some Stefan Molyneux comebacks where it says, Castellan, I know a tall Chinese guy that is not in the NBA. Jimmy Song is 6'1" Asian, and he's not in the NBA for some weird reason. He's not. I don't know why Jimmy Song's not in the NBA. He's 6'1". And for an Asian, that's incredible, right? Like, how many Asians are 6'1"? He should be in the NBA, but he's not. Look, the government employees are not, generally the. I mean, there are bright government employees, but on average, if they're government employees, they make mistakes. All right, guys, I am gonna get going. Please interview Jimmy and ask why. I will. Look at Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin's doing well, but it's got to have a big hurdle of this 50-period moving average. We got back on track a little bit there. All right, guys, thank you all for watching, and see you all on the next one.